Okay, so whenever I send that sort of normal welcome email out, the one that's got all the links to activities that the chapter's been in, news stories the chapter's been in the past, and things like that. Attached to that email, I always include the 5-star enhanced membership form. So this is that form. I'll make it big. So normally, especially, I would say, especially in a normal year where we have lots of activities that are face-to-face, like when we do fundraising events, especially, and we do concessions at the school plays, when we do concessions, like when a play runs, it has 4 showings over the weekend. And then if it goes on both weekends, that means we have 8 events over 2 weekends. So we end up having like lots of littler events. And so, we like to use this as a log to keep track of things. We used to require it to be done on paper, but especially after COVID, that's kind of pointless. So you can keep track of it digitally. At the bottom, there's going to be a log where you can keep track of everything that you've done. So pretty straightforward, put your member name in here. We want to reward our chapter members for their participation level in the chapter. And it also helps determine things like who's eligible for travel and things like that when we obviously travel. So you earn your points by completing chapter activities. Everything that the chapter does has some form of point value attached to it. And of course, you're not required to do anything at all, but every chapter will have point value. And of course, the time that you spend in that event has an hour value as well. So to earn each star you'll get another star when you get 20 points and 20 service hours with the chapter. To achieve the 4th and 5th stars, members must also personally recruit 1 new member for each of those levels. So to go from 3 to 4, definitely have to recruit a member, and then from 4 to 5, you have to recruit a member. And so this program, it's an ongoing program, so it's something that we'll have active at all times. And we try to give you your awards as you get to your star status. If you haven't been keeping track of your star status, we can probably get you caught up on what those stars were and how many points they were and how many hours you spent, especially because everything we do now is virtual. There's going to be a record for that somewhere online. It's what made especially Facebook super convenient, because they have the calendars. We can create a calendar, we can add an event. All we had to do is go back and look at the calendar and say, okay, well, here was that event, here's how many attended. No one really has Facebook anymore, but it still serves as a good catalog of our events. Now, to earn the full graduation set, let's see if I can pull up a photo of it. We go into ptk.org. Let's hop out of that. Let us go into the store. So when you look under graduation, what we're talking about earning is your stole, your tassel, the cords, and you can earn the honors medallion with enough hours. With COVID, it's been kind of hard to earn those hours where people would normally do volunteer work, but that we're talking about earning those four main things. So to earn the full regalia set, you'll have to achieve 5-star status, so earn all 5 stars, and have a minimum of 100 service hours with the chapter. So that with the chapter is the kind of key part. And that matters because then we look at getting the service medallion. To get that and become a Golden Key member, that'll get you that service medallion. You need to be a 5-star member, right? But have a minimum of 250 total hours of service to either the chapter or in community service. So you already will have at least 100 hours with the chapter off of your main 5-star status. So earning another 150 volunteer hours. Now notice that can be with us, or it can be with another community service. So like volunteer hours are free unpaid service to your community. This doesn't count, like mowing your grandmother's lawn does not count. That's something you should probably be doing anyway. But like if you volunteer at like the ASPCA or Meals on Wheels or something along those lines, I know a bunch of our members have volunteered at Kids Pack. So if you do volunteer hours with some other group, it can count towards the chapter for achieving the Golden Key member status and getting that Golden Key. It's not a Golden Key medallion anymore. It's the service medallion. So at each star you complete, you'll earn a portion of something. So after you complete 1 star, you'll get your chapter T-shirt. And just knowing how many events, Kelly, you've been out, I have to get you your chapter T-shirt. There's no doubt in my mind you've gotten at least 2 or 3 stars. At the 2-star level, you'll get your tassel. And I do have a bunch of these in my office. So like the tassels I tend to buy in bulk because a number of people can get to at least that 2-star level. At 3 stars, you are eligible for a letter of recommendation for Phi Theta Kappa scholarships. So notice there's an asterisk there. And well, that's not where I wanted it. I guess I should have did this. So, the letter of recommendation for Phi Theta Kappa scholarships, I have to be able to write about you as a Phi Theta Kappa member. I have to be, since it is for a Phi Theta Kappa scholarship. If it was a scholarship that was not for Phi Theta Kappa, it's just a scholarship that you're applying for, especially if I've had you as a student, totally can write you a letter for that. But for a Phi Theta Kappa scholarship, I have to talk about your activities with the organization. And if you haven't really done anything in the organization, it makes it very difficult for me to write about doing activities in the organization. So if you, in order to become eligible for those Phi Theta Kappa scholarship letters of rec, need you to be at least a 3-star level. And this is also something we're going to reiterate when we do the scholarship workshops, which we'll have coming up probably in 2 weeks. And 3 stars also makes you eligible for travel within the Florida region. Again, when we actually have travel as an option. With COVID, we obviously can't travel, at least for now. So you need to be at least 3 stars to travel in the Florida region. And that's for those 3 main events that we have in the Florida region. We have mini honors in the summer, in July. We have leadership in October, and we have the Florida Regional Conference in late February or early March. Now at 4 stars, you get graduation cords, your cords earned. And then you also become eligible to travel to internationals, or I should probably change that. They don't call it internationals anymore. They call it Catalyst. Or possibly to Honors Institute. Now, Honors Institute it's considered like the Cadillac of all of the programs we do. So Honors Institute is a very big deal. That one's typically done in early June, sometimes late May. We fly to a college that's sponsoring us. The last time we had one face-to-face was in 2019, and that was at the San Diego State University. The one that was canceled the year of COVID was at the University of Chicago, I believe. And so we typically go to a decent sized school. You stay on campus. Your food is covered, I think, except for one night where you guys get like a free night to go out and do things. The chapter, of course, covers your flights, and if you're eligible to go, the chapter covers your the fee, the fee to go, and the fee to go is, I believe they raised it to $900 or $950. And so to go to Honors Institute is a very big deal. When you include flights plus the main fee alone, you're looking at about $1,400. It's 6 full days usually, including your travel times. So Catalyst is usually 6 days, 5 days. And again, it's a pretty hefty fee. This year, Catalyst, or not this year, next year, Catalyst will be in Denver, Colorado. And it promises to be a really nice one because it's going to be in Denver at the Gaylord. And we're going a full day early so that we can help MG set up her Vice President of Division 2 International Officer run. Plus, we can go and do some cool stuff in Denver. And then at 5 stars, you get your graduation stole. And so by the time you get to your 5th star, you've earned all of the possible graduation regalia that you can earn. And so, you can earn them along the way. So let's say you graduate and maybe you only got up to 3 stars, you'll get your shirt and your tassel for sure. If you get up to 4 stars, you'll get your graduation cords. And then you would only have to purchase like the graduation stole to have the complete set for graduation. So you can earn each one sort of along the way. Now, typically what I'll do is I'll collect the forms. I'll have you email me your form at the start of each term. So now that the fall term has started, I mean, it's been started for about 4 weeks now, but with the start of the fall term, I do have to email the chapter as a whole, and I'm going to do that this week. And so I will put out a call for collecting the 5-star membership log. You have to make sure you keep track of your points and your hours. The chapter doesn't do that. And you have to let the officer team, the leadership team know, or myself, for the official record so that we have copies of it. And I usually have a folder. I have folders within folders in my Phi Theta Kappa folder on my flash drive. It goes into year, it'll go into semester, and then I'll have a folder that says just 5-star forms. Of course, again, participation in the program is not mandatory. But if you're coming to events anyway, you might as well earn your points, earn your hours, and get some stuff out of it. So, some of this is in here because members wouldn't participate in the activity. They would just show up, hang out, and leave. And this is especially with things like Fall Fest, where we would be on campus for a good 8 or 9 hours, and I would have students who just wouldn't do anything. So you do have to participate. So this is a loose point scale. There are going to be some events that aren't on here, or that are, but you may not know how to classify them. So 1 point for a chapter meeting. That's virtual or face-to-face for every meeting. 2 points if we have a fellowship event. So we should next week hopefully have a Kahoot trivia night. So that'll be a 2-point event, and 2 points for each fundraising event. Now, again, we haven't had a lot of fundraising events just because of COVID. When we're in a normal year, if things ever go back to normal, we usually have every fall and every spring, I'm going to guesstimate around 14, 15 different fundraising events. Some are during the day, some are at night. So that one's usually a very big one for earning points. 3 points for chapter service events. So that could be something that the chapter is doing that isn't like a normal project. So like college project events are also 3 points. Honors and action events are 4 points. So like a chapter service event could include things like if we are going to schedule some because we need to do it for part of the regional projects. we're going to schedule some cleanups, whether they're at parks or at roadsides. Maybe we'll travel over to one of the beaches and try and hang out with another chapter or two and do a beach cleanup. So like we would consider that a chapter service event. College project events and chapter awareness events. So again, without face-to-face classes, chapter awareness events are kind of low. So meaning like back when we were face-to-face and we would have Club Rush for 2 days at the beginning of the term, or we'd have like college night, and we would have our table set up at college night. Those would count as chapter awareness events. We also used to, just after I would send emails out, we used to actually set up tables in each building, or in the main buildings at least, just an awareness table where people could walk up and ask questions about the chapter, especially because they probably had just gotten the email. And then if they see, us sitting there, they realize that we're an actual group and not spamming them. Now, 3 points you also get for completion of each star or badge earned in any Phi Theta Kappa EDGE program. Now, only the 4 main ones are listed here: competitive, transfer, employment, and research. And I'm going to hop over to that. So when you look under members and you scroll down to programs, you'll see the EDGE programs here. Now you'll notice there's a 5th, and you can still get points for doing the 5th if you want. But Healthcare EDGE is, for the most part, specifically designed for healthcare professionals. And so if you're not going into healthcare, and we're talking about like hands-on healthcare professionals like nurses, doctors, things like that, radiology, x-ray techs, then you may not get a lot of value out of it. But competitive EDGE, just a brief rundown. All of these are online. They're all at your own pace. Competitive EDGE is a leadership training course. It provides a lot of information on the soft skills that you typically aren't taught, but are absolutely required, especially in today's workplace. Employment EDGE is all about finding employment after you get out of school, how to write a resume, how to have a good interview, things like that. Transfer EDGE, which we'll actually have a workshop on when we do the Phi Theta Kappa Connect, the PTK Connect program as well. We'll do that and Transfer EDGE together, and that'll be coming up in probably 3-ish weeks, maybe 4. So Transfer EDGE is all about the transfer process, finding your school, going through the application if you have to do an interview with your school, best practices for that, finding transfer scholarships, you name it. And then Research EDGE is, especially if you want to be a part of the chapter's leadership team, one of the most important ones. It's all about how to do proper research. I'm sure a lot of you have had research required in your courses. You may have had some like loose kind of walkthrough of how to do research, but this is more of a purposeful, here is how you do research kind of a program. So for each one of those programs, normally they're only worth 2 apiece. I believe for these 4 main ones, there are 18 total stars or badges that you can earn. And so, even when we used to do them at 2 points apiece, then that would have been 36 of your possible 100 points, which is a fair amount. But due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we increased the point total to 3, and we also doubled the amount of hours that we used to do. We used to do 1 hour for each star or badge earned, so you'd have 18. But then we doubled that, so now you have up to 36 hours earned by completing the 4 main EDGE programs, and you can earn 54 total points by completing the 4 main EDGE programs. And if that sounds like a lot, when you're only needing to get 100 points in 100 hours, it is. But that's also because the EDGE programs help our chapter a lot. So when we do write-ups at the end of the year, when we're trying to write up for awards, one of the things that we can write about is how many of our chapter members have completed EDGE programs, because these are training programs for leadership, for education, employment, that's nice, or for, research and also going into education. They can really pay off dividends for the chapter. So since they're so valuable, we reward that value. And so, for now, as long as the COVID-19 pandemic is going, if you complete the 4 main programs, you're going to get 54 points in 36 hours. And you can sign up for those. All you have to do is, like when you saw on the other screen, you click on them and you can just basically you sign up by clicking on them and you activate the program and you go in and complete them at your own pace. There are a varying number of badges per program. So if we just click on competitive, mostly because I know that one's done, you can see it's kind of you start here, you can't move on until everything else will be closed until you get the check mark completed. And then you walk through the different types of thinking, and you can see that you have self-esteem, time management, mental health, connect. Each one of these is a badge at the top, and then each of the sub-programs. And then I usually recommend people to, if you just sit down and try and do 1, maybe 2 badges a day, it'll take you an hour and a half. Each one of the programs, it varies. Competitive may take a little longer, more like 4, maybe 5 hours. Something more like Research Edge may take 3, 3.5. But which is why we were doing like 1 hour per badge earned, because that's about what it takes. But take advantage while it's doubled. But I always recommend if you just sit down for like an hour, knock out 1, maybe 2 badges, depending on how short or how long they are, then you should be able to complete all 4 of those EDGE programs in less than 2 weeks, by just devoting a little bit of time every day to it. And you probably will get something out of it, unless you've, like, say, even employment, like unless you've been in the workplace for decades, like I have. When I went through employment, I was trying to think of it in the terms of, like, say, a student who maybe hasn't had that much experience, and it's pretty useful. So you can also earn 4 points, not just for honors and action events, but for chairing or creating an event. So if you want to run your own event and create it from scratch, and this is subject to the leadership team's approval and my approval, then you can get 4 points for creating an event to help the chapter. We also have leadership events. Those are worth 4 points apiece. So for example, like when, for those of you who were around last summer, when Tori, who began as our vice president of leadership and she left as our chapter president, Tori had the online leadership guest speaker series with veterans from Polk State College. So each one of those events is worth 4 points. And then attending the induction ceremony is worth 5. And now we haven't had a face-to-face induction ceremony since November of 19 due to COVID. But I don't know that we'll have one. We may have to do a virtual one this fall, but we should be able to have a face-to-face induction starting in April for sure. And well, I don't want to say for sure given COVID, but if you attend the virtual ceremony, that works. That's 5 points as well. And this is the digital record. You can write down your date, what you did, how many points that's worth. And if you don't know, just ask by all means. Time you got there, time you left, how many hours it was. And if you printed it, like, this is back when we printed them out, you would have one of the leadership team or myself initial it for you. So it's a pretty straightforward program. Well, let me do this first. Does anyone have any questions first?
I have a question.
Shoot.
So what would this event be?
So this would be considered pretty much probably either a chapter awareness event or a chapter service event. Either way, it would be worth 3 points. I mean, not really doing service, and it's not making the chapter aware, but you're becoming aware of what the chapter has to offer. So either way, I would say it's worth 3 points. And then for the time, like round it to the nearest half hour. Like we've been in here like 26 minutes now. So, you know, if it was like 9:45, just round it up to, or sorry, if it was 2:45, round it up to a full hour. But yeah, so this is worth 3 points. So, and if you're not sure as to what you've been to, we can certainly comb through the Facebook page or through some of the, on the Canvas page when we recorded events, it would give us a statistics and we could tell you if you were there or not, or how long the event lasted. One of the reasons we moved to Zoom though is because those recordings, Canvas would delete them after about 6 months in order to save space. But that's, you know, when we go to Facebook, the convenience of Facebook, we could still go back through and I'm just pulling it up, but I'm trying to talk while I'm doing it. It's not working. If we go to events, it looks like they removed the option. We used to be able to look at it by the month. So, but we'll just have to scroll back through. So if you've been here a while, you know, you can see here, call-a-thon. This is happening right now. And then we have the member meetings, all the workshops. We can kind of go back through. If you're not sure, you know, what you've done or you know, or how long they last or something like that, we can go back through the Facebook page and it, you know, lays it out for us as to what events we've had and when. So does anyone have any other questions?
Yes, I have a question as well.
Shoot.
Is this whole like 5-star thing, is it just like in this club or is it like all 5 of the, you know, the Kappa clubs?
Wait, you mean like what do you mean?
You know, like how you said like becoming like a 5-star member, is that just like a thing that you guys do or is it like all like schools? That's what I mean.
You mean like other chapters in Phi Theta Kappa?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it depends. I know some chapters that have this 5-star membership program or something similar to it. Like this was created by our chapter, but I know other chapters that have similar programs. But this is a chapter like designed program, especially is designed to encourage, you know, participation and reward participation in activities. So.
Oh, okay, sounds good. I was just curious. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. What else? Any other questions?
I was wondering, how many points does it take to like earn a star? Or is that how it works?
It's you have 20 total points to earn a star and 20 hours of time. That those two combined to earn you know 1 star, and then once you get to all 5 stars, you'll have 100 points and 100 hours total.
Okay.
And you've been to a lot of events, so we'll have to kind of add up, you know, everything that you've been to and how much time you've put in. But I'm guesstimating. I mean, I would guess you're probably at least at a 3-star.
Wow, I had no idea.
So yeah, well, we can always go back through on the Facebook page or something like that and kind of, you know, write down everything you've been to, which is most of the events, and how long they were and get a definitive total. But yeah, you've been to a lot of events, so I'm going to guess probably 3-star.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. Other questions? So especially, if you're going to be at the chapter for a long time, meaning like obviously the rest of this year, especially if you're going to be here going into next year, you're definitely going to want to make sure you keep track of your star totals, your activity levels, so we can get you a star totals and reward you for that. We can get you your regalia sets for free. We can get you, especially get some good letters of recommendation going, and we will begin traveling most likely in February for the regional event. And certainly for internationals, we're going to be traveling to Denver. So, the more, we did an orientation today, and we talked about it there as well. The more you participate, the more likely you are to be able to travel. Remember that our budget is not great, and so we want to be able to take those people who are most active, and that's going to be basically measured through this form. Now, we haven't been able to travel for 18, 19 months, whatever it's been, but we will begin traveling soon. So we hope to begin, be able to take as many people as possible. And so, make sure you keep track of everything. And if you're thinking like, well, how long does it take to earn 5 stars? Again, that depends on how active you are. We're going to have the EDGE programs are always available. Literally, you work on them at your own pace. So, complete them, whenever you can, as soon as you can. And then, like I had a past president who just became Miss Phi Theta Kappa, and she earned all 5 stars and had, I think, like 120 hours with the chapter in 4 months. She did it over a summer. Now that was face to face, and we had a whole lot of events. But especially with the increase in point value and hours value for the EDGE programs, it's very easily attainable to earn all 5 stars in a single semester. Maybe a little bit a semester and a little bit extra. Questions? Okay. Well, thanks for coming by, and I'm going to stop the recording now.